Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, the governor of the Nigerian state of Katsina tells locals not to give in so easily, to arm themselves rather than rely on the government to help tackle ongoing attacks by armed gangs. Also, it's been a tough year for Mali in the 12 months since the first of two coups that led to an assassination attempt on the interim leader. Colonel Assimi Goïta promises to stick to plans for democratic elections next year. And as outcry over vaccine inequity between richer and less wealthy regions grows, Tunisian soldiers head into communities to help manage the country's pushback against the pandemic amidst a surge in cases. But first, a Nigerian governor has told communities repeatedly raided by armed gangs to arm and defend themselves. Aminu Masari from the state of Katsina blamed locals for giving in to attackers too easily and said that security isn't just the government's responsibility. The country's seen an uptick in insecurity, including a rash of kidnappings for ransom. Samuel Okoye has more.
Alone was able to vaccinate nearly 75,000.
Very clear in his message to the people. He said the people should pick up guns and protect themselves from the activities of bandits. The governor said it is morally wrong for the people to sit back and allow bandits to take control of their lives. The bandits are a group of well-armed men who have been involved in mass abduction of school children, kidnapping people to collect large sums of money as ransom. They've been involved in robbery. They've been involved in murder. Virtually all parts of Nigeria and the federal capital, Abuja, are affected by the activities of these bandits. It is clear to many that the Nigerian government and security agencies are having problems containing the activities of these bandits. Katsina State is the home state of the president, and for many, if the president cannot secure his own state, then he cannot secure other parts of Nigeria. As if to make a mockery of the president, last December, bandits have invaded the state while the president was there and abducted about 300 school children. Those in authority are shifting the blames on the victims of these crimes. They said because the people are not fighting back, then it is getting the criminals emboldened. The governor of Katsina State said this in the statement he issued, that the people are not doing enough, and that is giving the bandits the excuse to continue to do the opportunity to continue to carry out their criminality. A number of government officials have said it in the past, like the defense minister, Bashir Magaji. He said the security of the people should be in the hands of the people, and he asked the people to defend themselves. With government and other security agencies admitting that it's been difficult protecting the people, a wrong signal has been sent to the bandits that government is having problems protecting them, and for them, it should be business as usual.
France 24's Samuel Okoye there for us. Now, Wednesday marked a year since a military coup toppled Mali's former president, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita. The country's seen a rough 12 months. The interim president who took over was unseated in a second military takeover in May, and Colonel Assimi Goïta, the man behind both oustings, is now transitional leader. He survived an assassination attempt in July. Despite the tumultuous political landscape and an ongoing jihadist insurgency, Goïta this week said that he is still committed to holding transparent elections next February. Malians, though, are still hoping he can deliver on these promises of stability.
These military people who came to help us found out that the country was ruined. When a country is ruined, you have to give these people time to pull it out of the hole. You have to give these soldiers time to work. As far as the outcome is concerned, I would say we have to wait and we have to hope. We can't say now, after 7 years, when the country was in a hole, that we're going to get out of it after just 8 months or a year. It's impossible.
Nothing is going well in Mali today. It's been 1 year since Ibrahim Boubacar Keita left power, and teachers still have no rights. This was one of the reasons for IBK's departure.
DR Congo has extended the state of emergency in the eastern provinces of Ituri and North Kivu for a sixth time. The measure was first brought in early May. The region has been terrorized by militia groups and thousands have fled because of the insecurity. This week, fatal clashes broke out around Bunia between troops and fighters from the notorious ADF group. A small deployment of US Special Forces have recently arrived in the country to support the army's fight back against the extremist group. It's estimated to have killed around 6,000 civilians since 2013. And 7 people have died in flash floods in Ethiopia's capital. Torrential rains inundated Addis Ababa on Wednesday, causing heavy damage. Cars and homes were submerged beneath the waters, and several people were hospitalized because of the downpour. More heavy rains are expected over the course of the week. And a date's been set for the trial of Burkina Faso's exiled former president, who's been charged by a military tribunal over the murder of the country's late leader Thomas Sankara. Blaise Compaoré, who fled to Ivory Coast after being ousted in 2014, has always denied killing the man dubbed by some as Africa's Che Guevara. Sankara died in 1987 in a putsch led by Compaoré. Wasim Cornet has more.
It was October 15th, 1987. Thomas Sankara, then president of Burkina Faso, as well as 12 other officials, were shot dead by an armed commando in the capital, Ouagadougou. 4 years earlier, he had seized power thanks to a coup, calling for a democratic revolution. It was on that day of October 87 that Sankara's brother-in-arms, Blaise Compaoré, carried out another coup, seizing the presidency and remaining in power until 2014. Today, he is one of the accused in the assassination trial that will begin this October. The 70-year-old will likely be tried in absentia. He lives in the Ivory Coast, holds Ivorian citizenship, and doesn't plan on attending the trial. Also among the accused, his right-hand man, General Gilbert Diendéré, as well as 11 others. Diendéré is serving a 20-year sentence for a coup attempt in 2015. Others are believed to have had a role in the assassination, but lawyers say many have since passed away. In 2015, the remains of Sankara and his comrades were unearthed, but DNA analysis was unable to confirm their identities. That is why the 14 people who will soon be on trial have also been charged with the concealment of corpses.
Mr. President.
Well, the World Health Organization said that it is shameful that wealthy countries are rushing to offer COVID-19 vaccine booster shots to their populations, whilst millions around the world have yet to be immunized at all. The organization's pointed out that there's little evidence that the extra jabs are needed by those already fully vaccinated.
I called for a temporary moratorium on boosters to help shift supply to those countries that have not even been able to vaccinate their health workers and at-risk communities and are now experiencing major spikes.
Well, some African leaders have accused richer countries of using colonial tactics when it comes to vaccine distribution and patent waivers. Despite less than 3% of the African continent's people being vaccinated against COVID-19, millions of doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine produced in South Africa are still being exported to Europe. Frustration at the unequal access to vaccines was front and centre of topics on the table at a Southern African summit this week. Nadine Theron has more.
Vaccine inequity was first on the agenda of the new chairman of the Southern African Development Community at its annual summit in Malawi. Malawian President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera opened by saying toxic nationalism has led to some wealthy countries hoarding millions of doses of the vaccine, while poorer economies are going without. Chakwera also urged the SADC bloc to fight for intellectual property waivers on the vaccine, something South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has done throughout the year. This follows a New York Times report that 10 million doses of the J&J vaccine is being exported from South Africa to Europe, where many nations have vaccinated up to 60% of their populations. South Africa is the African country most affected by the pandemic, with less than 10% of its population being vaccinated. And we're recording around 11,000 new infections of COVID-19 daily.
Nadine Theron there for us. Now, more than 22,000 people have been registered as having died because of the pandemic in Tunisia. The army was called in to help manage the huge spike in infections. Now, there's recently been a huge one-day vaccination push, and the hope is that the worst is over, but the military is still overseeing the pushback. Lilia Blaise and Amdi Tlili were able to go see them in action.
In the mountains around Katsina in the northwest of Tunisia, the army is in charge of vaccinating rural communities. Here at this dispensary, elderly locals are waiting to receive their second doses.
We noticed a low registration rate of people in this region on the evax.tn online vaccine booking platform. The terrain here also makes access to the region extremely difficult. These two reasons basically made us come to these areas.
Rabah is 60 and has just received her final dose. She says it's a relief as getting access to the jab has been tough.
Where I live, we have no public transport or access to drinking water. We rode here today on a donkey.
The army is also going to the houses of those who can't leave their villages. Here, soldiers vaccinate a woman and a couple with underlying health issues.
I wasn't expecting the army to come to my house and vaccinate me. It's really good. At the beginning, there were many rumors about the vaccine, that one is better than another. It didn't really encourage people. But after, with the TV announcements, it was clearer.
The military alone was able to vaccinate nearly 75,000 Tunisians in mostly rural areas in 1 month. The army also headed into hospitals during an infection spike in June. In the central city of Kairouan, a hospital which was full when we filmed a month ago is now practically empty, a good sign.
With the efforts of doctors and medical professionals from civilian and military establishments, we succeeded in slowing down the chain of contaminations, and there's been an improvement compared to when we set up this hospital.
Since July 28th, President Keita has tasked military health officials with managing the pandemic. He also appointed an army doctor as health minister.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks for joining us, and do so again if you can. Take care.